We're tackling a big one today with Enamorus, and with Enamorus being classified as the love-hate Pokemon, it's certainly fitting because, I do not like looking at this thing. This thing is ugly. But those stats are amazing. The more I see those stats, I love them, so you know what? Perfectly fitting. It lights a fire in my belly looking at those stats, or that could just be the pad thai I had for lunch today. But anyways, Enamorus here is a fairy flying typing, so we have two immunities, we have two 4x resistances, and we have two regular resistances, which kind of balances out because this thing does have 5 weaknesses. It's weak to ice, electric, steel, poison, and rock, but that's alright. We've seen this typing before with Togekiss, and we know it can do good. Having immunity to both ground and dragon is pretty solid. Ground is a rather common coverage type. Fighting is also a rather good typing to have a 4x resistance to because it is a fairly common type to see. Bug, not so much, but hey, we'll take it. And then finally, we resist dark and grass, both of which are nice types to have resistances to. So Enamorus here has 74 HP, 115 attack, 70 defense, 135 special attack, 80 special defense, and 106 speed. It's the 4th member of the genies, and Enamorus is the only female genie out of the 4 of them there, so we can have a few dynamic changes between Enamorus and the other 3. For starters, Enamorus's main ability is Cute Charm. So basically here, if this thing gets into a contact situation with opposite gendered Pokemon, it can potentially infatuate them. So Enamorus could actually shut down the other 3 if they go for a physical move. Chances are not going to happen unless they're in a Therian form. Landers. But chances are not going to likely happen, but it does have the possibility to do that. Enamorus's hidden ability is Contrary, which inverts the stat drops and stat boosts that it receives. So anything that would lower a stat would increase its stat, and anything that would normally boost its stat would lower them, because, that's what Contrary does. On top of that, because Enamorus is a genie, it does get a Therian form, and its Therian form's ability is Overcoat, which protects it from powder moves, sand damage, fun stuff. It shuts down Spore. We're going to talk on that later. But we're going to look at Incarnate form Enamorus first. So what I was thinking here was we could look at a base Cute Charm set for starters. We could go for a generic Calm Mind idea. So we slap Moonblast on there for stab. You could slap Springtide Storm, which is Enamorus's signature attack, onto it. But the only thing is you're only going up by 5 points in power to hit 100 as opposed to a Moonblast, and your accuracy is dropping down to 80. Now, it does have a 30% chance to lower the target's attack stat if it makes contact, and it is a spread move, so that is nice, but Moonblast can also have a similar enough effect on the special attacking side. So I like the Moonblast there because 30% chance to lower special attack is nice, because if you wanted to lower attack, you could always run an Intimidator to do that, and plus the Clear Amulet is a thing, so chances are it's a lot safer to just go for the Moonblast. For our secondary option here, I was thinking we go Earth Power to combine with Moonblast, because then that way we hit the Steel and Poison types that would otherwise resist Moonblast's fairy typing, so we can go for the Earth Power there. We have Calm Mind to increase our special defense and special attack. So what I was thinking here is we invest all of our speed EVs possible into that and give it a Timid Nature to hit 173, and then we can divvy it up between our defense and our special attack. Now, we could just go full special attack investment if we wanted to, but what I was thinking here is this should at least give Enamorus a little bit of a chance of hanging on if it does take a physical attack, but if it doesn't, well, you tried. You could also just dump the 60 points into maybe special defense to further take advantage of the fact that Calm Mind is raising our special defense as well. But 180 in special attack is relatively nice because you're already getting a boost from the Calm Mind there too. So in conclusion on that one there, I'd say put a little bit of defense investment into it or special defense investment along with max speed, and then mostly special attack investment, and then you can proceed to go from there and just deliver big hits. Let's talk about Contrary. Contrary is going to be a fun ability to have on Enamorous, because you can go with superpower to increase your attack and your defense. So suddenly that 115 attack stat does not look useless. We have the superpower there, we land a superpower, and we're basically getting a free bulk up. On top of that, we can have a lot of fun with Contrary, because there are setup moves that we could normally use to lower our opponent's stats, but we could use them to self-proc ourselves. And some of these moves that I'm thinking of are Tickle and Fake Tears, Eerie Impulse, Rock Tomb. The nice thing with Contrary is it does invert those stat drops and stat changes. Regieleki is going to be coming back, so if you're worried about taking an Electro Web and having your speed lowered, what you could do here is you could Terra away from your flying typing and go for something that's either neutral or just straight up resist electric. And then that way you take the Electro Web and get a +1 speed, and now you can set yourself up even further. What I was thinking here is, with a physical set, we could run an Assault Vest to increase our special defense. We have the superpower to naturally increase our attack and our defense, and then we invest heavily into our speed. Now, I do have it set up so that instead of being max speed investment, we're going to be 1 point lower, and that's just so that we can squeeze an extra 2 points out of our special defense to further boost that up with the Assault Vest. We're naturally getting a +1 off a superpower, so we're getting a 50% boost right there. That 90 is going to get an extra 45 points off the first hit. If we manage to land a second one, we're already going to be doubled. Our physical attack stat is going to be monstrously scary at that point. So I think we can justify lowering that speed and putting a little bit into our special defense to kind of make up for that. The Assault Vest gives us a 50%, so we're still going to get a little bit more out of our special defense with those extra 2 points. So we would get 51 points right there out of the Assault Vest with the 102 normally with the 12 EV investment, and then that way we still have our superpower to boost up our attack and defense, and then we have that just a little bit of extra insurance to survive a special attack that comes our way. Now, keeping up the contrary shenanigans, you could do a special set and then go for some moves, like I mentioned, to debuff yourself, or typically would debuff yourself and have them boost up. Thunderous is actually going to be a really nice partner for Enamorous here, because we have the Prankster, so we have the priority right there. We're going to be going before anything that is not using a priority move, so we could go Eerie Impulse off Thunderous, and we can go Scary Face as well, and both of these moves are going to be great to disrupt our opponent anyways. So Eerie Impulse lowers the special attack by 2. You use that on Enamorous, now you're getting a +2 special attack. That Moonblast or Earth Power is going to hurt. We have the Scary Face to increase our speed. So even if we just wanted to run the physical set too, we could still get reliable speed boosting with Scary Face off of Prankster Thunderous or Prankster Grimmsnarl as well. So that's not a bad idea. Going back into the special idea, we could run the Assault Vest to still patch up our special defense. We have the Moonblast, we have the Earth Power. Then for the other two moves, you could kind of mix and match. I have Mystical Fire to debuff anything that's running special attacks with the Mystical Fire, and then that way Enamorous is going to get a little bit bulkier on the special defense side as well. We have Grass Knot for some damage just to hit the heavier targets, especially when the restricted format starts up again. We're going to love hitting Kyogre or Groudon with this, but that's going to be a ways off, so we don't necessarily have to go Grass Knot. This thing gets Sludge Bomb, it gets a Psychic, so typically it gets a lot of the special options that the genies do have, so you could go Psychic or Mystical Fire, you can go Sludge Bomb and Psychic. Basically, so long as you keep Moonblast and Earth Power, it's going to do good. And going back to the physical set too, what I was thinking is, you could go with the Play Rough for physical Fairy Stab, you can go for the Iron Head for steel coverage, and then you can go Fly. And what I was thinking with Fly is, especially if you get a speed boost or if you're playing against slower bonds, you can use this as a pseudo protect to basically keep yourself safe from that first attack that would normally hit. That Fly causes you to dodge, and then you can land some physical flying stab. But you could also go Terra Blast if you wanted to use something other than Fly, because Fly can be a little bit predictable. Both physical and special contrary could be a fun idea to run with Enamorous. That's really funny when you think about it, because you're basically trolling your opponent. Now let's talk about Therian form Enamorous as well, because Therian form Enamorous has a different stat breakdown from regular Enamorous. It loses a lot of speed to gain defenses. Its attack stats stay the same, but so basically we go from 106 to 46, and then we gain 110 defense and we gain 100 defense. So we gain an extra 20 points into our special defense, and then we gain an extra 40 points into our physical defense. As I mentioned, we have Overcoat here. We become significantly slower, so Enamorous Therian form is going to be really good in Trick Room. And the nice thing about Overcoat is it protects us from Spore and other moves that would typically be annoying. So we don't have to worry about Sleep Powder or Spore to throw off our momentum, because now we're going to be able to stay awake. We don't need to put a safety goggles on there. So if we're playing a Trick Room team or trying to deal with Trick Room, we can free up a slot for our safety goggles on a different Pokemon, which would be really nice. On top of that, you wouldn't have to rely strictly on Terra Grass to get around that as well, because you have the option for Overcoat and then the safety goggles to go on a partner mon for Enamorous. So what I was thinking with this first set is we can go Assault Vest here, go for straight damage, because that 135 special attack stat is just way too tempting to not pass up. Now we don't have the contrary, so now the 115 attack is kind of moot. But what I was thinking here is we invest heavily into our HP, our physical defense, and then our special attack. We have the Assault Vest there to patch up our special defense, and we can just go from that. And for moves, I was thinking we go Moonblast, Sludge Bomb, Earth Power, and Mystical Fire. The nice thing here is, like I said, Earth Power is going to cover the poison and steals that would resist Moonblast. On top of that, we have Sludge Bomb to hit opposing fairies and opposing Enamoruses. We have the Mystical Fire to lower special attack stats. And then we have Moonblast with just natural stab, as well as a 30% chance to lower special attack. This thing should be able to give Fluttermane a run for its money. It's definitely going to give Iron Bundle a run for its money, since Iron Bundle has the special defense stat of a potato. So we have that working in our favor. We can use Terra to get rid of our flying typing if we're concerned about that. We could go Terra Fairy to double our power off of our Moonblast. We could gain Stab off of Earth Power. We could go Poison for Stab on Sludge Bomb. We could go Terra Electric so that our only weakness is ground. And that could work out really nicely. And then finally, what I was thinking was we can go for a Calm Mind idea with Therian and Enamorous as well. We can invest more into our defensive bulk, since we'll be increasing our special attack with Calm Minds. And then we can have maybe a Citrus Berry or Leftovers as our item to get back HP. So 177 HP would not be a bad stat to have, coupled with 150 in each defense. We'll get bulky if we have Life Dew support or Heal Pulse support, even Healing Wish. Something to keep Enamorous healthy from a partner mod would be nice. On top of that, Redirection support would be incredibly beneficial, since that way Enamorous is getting a free turn of setup with Calm Mind. We can go for Light Screen or Reflect support, and then that way we get extremely bulky, and then once we set up to a stat point that we like, we can just start dishing out heavy damage. So yeah, anyways guys, that's my main thoughts on Enamorous. It's pretty dynamic between the different forms and abilities that it has, and I'm pretty excited to see it in action. The one drawback it does have, though, is it is kind of hard to get right now, because you can currently only get it in Legends Arceus, so eventually it'll probably come to go and then become a little bit more accessible that way by transferring up. But in the meanwhile, it's going to be the hardest question of just deciding on which form you want to use and how you want to train it. Anyways, until then, I will see you next time.